And we are live.
We are live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Soldiers of Science. I'm your host, Tony D, and that over there is.
Flex. What's going on, everybody?
Yeah. Welcome, everybody, to Inauguration Night.
Inauguration. Dun,
Wow.
dun, 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 dun.
Whew. A nation breathes a collective sigh of relief. Wow. And
Maybe not a collective, but
a
I
half
think
a nation.
a half a
Yeah, I screwed that whole thing up, dude. Burn it down. Rewind.
edit.
Half a nation that breathes a collective sigh of relief, and the other half has indigestion. And
But that's every election cycle,
that's
right?
and it is. It really is. I mean, throughout the entire history, yeah, exactly. There's always people happy about it, people not so happy about it, and people who don't give a shit either way. And that is just the beauty of being alive, being a human in America. You got your people that care a lot on the wings and people that don't care at all. And then your people in the middle, like Mr. Joseph R. Biden, who I know that may be controversial for some people to say, oh, he's in the middle. He's a Democrat. He's a communist. I'm not trying to get into all that. But I think comparatively to what we've been dealing with for the last 4 years, the guy is in the in the dead center of things politically, and it is really a sigh of relief to have an adult in the room, somebody to just kind of almost help people forget about politics for a while. That's the way it should be. It's the good stuff, right? The good old days when nobody gave a shit about what was the president was doing every minute of every day of every hour of every week because they were tweeting about it and telling us about it. Anyway, I'm going off on a rabbit hole. Welcome to the show. And we're back. You can tell we're very excited about things that are happening right now in our world. And the inauguration obviously is top of mind. Just happened earlier today. Now we've got our very first woman vice president, also Black woman, also South Asian or Indian American, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, what's up with that, Tony? I know we talked a little bit about it, but why can't we just say Indian, right?
I don't know why people. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's wrong with the she's an Indian, like from India.
She's half Indian, half
that's
Black,
the original
right?
country. Like if you've ever heard the word Indian, think about it. Ooh, yep, that one. There's a country called India,
Yeah.
and that's where it originated from. And humans lived there, believe it or not, America. And they weren't, Native Americans running through, the foothills of America. There were the actual Indians lived in actual India, and they still do. And those people exist, and now we have a female vice president who is part Indian.
Yeah,
I'll say it. That's science.
I mean, we like I don't know. We work with a lot of colleagues that are from India. It's really strange to me that like the media chose to like avoid using that word. So like Southeast Asia. I mean, yes, India is part of the Asian continent or Eurasian continent, depending on how you look at continents.
Yeah,
but I mean,
it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, when you say South, when I hear South Asian, I think maybe not Philippines, but like Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, Malaysia.
Yeah, it's just odd.
Maybe I'm the racist for thinking that.
It could be, but I'm trying to think like inversely. Like, I'll say we, an American, right? I guess you say an American. That's pretty broad, right? That's pretty confident to say that. Oh, you think you're talking about a United States American, not a South American or a Central American. Right. It goes. We digress.
So yeah, the little piece that I wanted to make about Kamala, like her or not, I will go on record and say I was not a huge fan of her coming in, but of course I support the administration and I support a lot of climate related things that they're trying to achieve, environmental related things that they're trying to achieve.
Dude, Paris Climate Agreement, we're
Paris
back.
Climate Agreement. Yeah, I actually want to go over all the executive orders or actions that Biden just signed, just real quick.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, Kamala Harris, like her or not, she is literally an inspiration for young Black, Asian, Indian women, young women, older women, but specifically like young women that like, okay, like this is possible. Like I can become the vice president, or I can become
Yeah.
the president, hopefully
Yeah,
one day.
they see, exactly. I see me there now. Like this is not
Just to uplift the mood and the not the temperament, but the just to motivate people. Like we need motivation right now, right? Like
yeah,
now's
the
a good time.
morale, right?
Morale.
Morale's been low.
Yeah.
Morale has been low, and people have been, eyes in the dirt, kind of. Well, some people have eyes wide, storming the Capitol, but
Yeah.
it's just something that I think is hopefully powerful enough to be, like you said, just be some reprieve from the dark days.
Yeah.
It's been pretty tough.
All right, you want me to bang out these
Yeah,
executive actions?
let's do that. Let's do that. Before that, I did want to just touch real quickly on the fact that he's gone. This dude is done. It's kind of weird. It's like it's been this kind of almost like this thud. It's like a thud. I don't know. It's like a weird wet ball of dough in a pizza shop, just kind of thudding on the ground if somebody dropped it.
Why couldn't the guy attend the inauguration? I mean, of course, nobody wanted him there, right? But
I
like
know.
Pence was there, right?
It's just one more sour, spoiled, petulant child thing.
Unreal.
It's the first time in over a century that has happened.
83 years or something like that. Yeah,
Dude.
insane.
Like, come on, man.
Like
And
even like Clinton
zero
was
class.
Bushes. Nobody likes Bush, or not nobody, but okay, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to get too political here, but
he wasn't well liked across the board.
Wasn't well received because the whole Al Gore situation with Florida.
Yeah.
Supreme Court had to intervene for that one. Electoral College of Florida and
the hanging chads. We all,
Yeah.
well, not all of us. The younger viewers may have no idea what the hell we're talking about, but those in our age group are aware, and then those older. But yeah, I mean, still, people have tact and class and just good sportsmanship, almost, to make that.
I mean, even Bush went to Obama's, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably like a 2-term, 1-term thing, right? Because like all these presidents essentially serve 2 terms, right? Except for Bush. The last one I can remember was Bush Senior. He only served 1, right? And then Clinton came in.
Yeah.
He did 2. Then Bush Jr. came in. He did 2. Then Obama did 2. And then we got Trumpy, who got
1. It's rare. It's a rarity that we've seen 1-term, presidents. It is typically an 8-year track for most presidents. It's just how it's gone, and that's another part of the thud, I think, being extra loud, because it's like, this is 1 term and it was terribly performed or executed. It goes out with the lowest, I think, approval rating ever of any outgoing president, or his approval rating was at its lowest point of his entire term, which of course, a guy that incites an insurrection is gonna struggle to get the odds makers to look fairly upon him. But it's just this other weird thud too, like, because of the complete eradication of his presence on social media, and this effort across tech and media to like just deplatform him and his most egregious sycophants. It's just like this quiet in the woods.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, but it's also like, I don't know. I'm just a little, leery of it, but it is a nice day. Like, today is a day to be celebrated. You talked about it earlier, and we talked about today. Like, it's just like, I did a sigh of relief, at least a couple times today.
Yeah, man.
Just because like the energy is palpable. It is.
Just want some normalcy, man. That's all I want. Like, the first maybe couple of months or years was exciting with Trump. Not exciting in a good way, but or a sane way. But yeah, just some sense of normalcy is really refreshing. Hopefully, I mean, there's no guarantee, but I think there's a lot of confidence and optimism around the fact that that's probably where we're headed is a little bit towards a little bit more normalcy. But
Yeah, a bit more.
there's a bunch actually one full term presidents. I won't name them all, but so the most recent Trump, and then George H.W. 93. Then we had Jimmy Carter in 81, and before that it was Herbert Hoover in 33.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them are all in the 1800s. So you got Quincy Adams, yeah, a bunch of
Oh, Quincy, that son of a bitch.
oh, Quincy Adams, James Buchanan.
Hey, there's a good guy. There's a good guy. I went and saw I think the Buchanan Manor in Pennsylvania as a kid.
Did you? Wow.
There's all kinds of colonial stuff in Pennsylvania. Those were our field trips. I was like, we're going to the Buchanan freaking Manor. Or the James Adams, I forget the first guy you said, James Madison, was it?
Adams.
No. Adams. Quincy Adams. Yeah, there's all kinds of colonial
John
shit.
Quincy Adams, yeah.
Quincy Adams probably had a cottage somewhere in Pennsylvania.
Yo, I just want to say what's up to our viewers. We got one on the YouTubes and we got some folks on the Twitches. So
hey, thanks for popping by.
Alex, their person, said hello. Hi.
What's
So
up? What's up? Hello. Welcome. Happy Inauguration Day to you. Or happy Wednesday if you if you're not into that whole inauguration thing,
that was
perfect.
That was so yeah, executive actions. Let me jump into these real quick. There's 17 of them. I won't go into all of them, but I'll try to highlight the ones that I think are the most pertinent. So coronavirus launches a 100 days masking challenge. Asking Americans to wear masks for 100 days, requires masks on physical distancing in federal buildings, federal lands, and government contractors.
That's right.
Urges states and local governments to do the same.
That's a big one. That's a big one. It shouldn't be. It should not be, but it is big in this country.
Yeah, that's interesting. The federal lands piece. Like I knew about the buildings, but federal land. So that means like I guess national forests, right?
Yeah.
So if you like go camping or backpacking in national forests, like are you going to be required to wear a mask? I mean, probably not. But like if you are near or with a bunch of other people, then yeah, you probably should, right?
Probably, yeah. I think they may. And again, it all comes down to enforcement. Like we gotta just self-police because how are you going to enforce that? Yep. There's only so many park rangers, and these parks are huge. But nonetheless, do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
Should have been masked up to begin with. That's what I said. It shouldn't be a big thing at all anyway, but it is because of just the way things are here. So this is important. I mean, it's a huge, at least symbolic effort to get people to like.
Yeah, and if more people wear masks, and as the vaccines roll out and more people take them, I think we'll be back on our feet. We will be back on our feet quicker. So that's important. So everybody, I think, should be on board with the idea of getting people back to work, getting new jobs. Restaurants opening back up, small businesses opening back up, things like that.
Yeah.
I think we can touch on this later, actually, but I think the whole small businesses being forced to shut down was like a huge mistake. I think we can still do it in a safe way. Like we've learned a lot over the last 9 months, and I think we should immediately start opening up like any business that feels like they can open up in a safe way. That way they can still transact and generate, income. So anyway.
Yeah. It's a huge miss. And something that definitely needs to be a focus on, like, the what they call the post-production meeting.
Yep.
We need to look back at that one.
Yeah. So next one, again, coronavirus stops the United States withdrawal from the World Health Organization, with Dr. Anthony Fauci becoming the head of the delegation to the WHO. So that's, again, that's either cause for massive celebration or it's just another Wednesday for some.
Yep.
There's a couple more on coronavirus, but yeah, creation of the position of COVID-19 response coordinator, reporting directly to Biden, managing efforts to produce and distribute vaccines, medical equipment. Let's see. Yeah, economy. So extending the existing nationwide moratorium on evictions and foreclosures until at least March 31st.
Yes.
And then the other economy-related one was extending the existing pause on student loan payments and interest for Americans with federal student loans until at least September 30th, which I think is amazing.
That's a huge one. Yes, I can hear the applause out there in the ether. Just that's a big time for a lot
My
of us.
sister-in-law is still like $100,000 in student loans. So
Yeah, no,
um,
I got not that much, but not that far off. Yeah.
environment. This is what I'm really passionate about. So we're rejoining the Paris Climate Accord, whether it's flawed or not. I think it's a step in the right direction.
Yes.
And we will continue to, hopefully, nations will continue to discuss and improve upon the plan.
Yes.
And then this is a big controversial one. I stand behind it. I don't like oil, but yeah, we're canceling the Keystone XL pipeline.
That's right. Revoke the licensing for the XL pipeline.
Versus more than 100 Trump actions on the environment.
Yeah, that one was a big one because I think there's already been some horrendous accidents on the XL pipeline.
Yeah, I can't speak on them, but I think you're right. Yeah.
I think that those have happened. Yeah, I don't want to put that in anybody's mind if it's not true, but I am almost certain that there have been a couple mishaps that have led to some not great outcomes. But that's good. So that's another climate one. There's another one. I think, I don't know if it's listed there, but he signed an order to review a toxic pesticide. I think it's, I forget what it's called. Starts with the some sort of pyro something. But he ordered a review of it. Apparently, this toxic pesticide has been known to cause birth defects in women or in babies of women that have been exposed to the pesticide. And I'm sure, what's that company? Monsanto may be involved in this somehow. But again, this is a pesticide, chemical, or kind of climate related type thing, and it's good. It's good to see some focus back on science and fact, and allowing for the influence of those things to actually matter. So that is nice.
I'm trying to look it up right now, but I'm not finding anything on this. Okay, here we go. Toxic pesticides faces new scrutiny from Biden administration. What is the name of it? It's called chlorpyrifos.
Yes.
Chlorpyrifos. The Trump administration had stepped in to keep the chemical on the market after Obama-era officials tried to ban it. Great. So we got some lobbying from whoever manufactures this. Farmers use chlorpyrifos to control insects on a wide variety of crops, including corn, apples, and vegetables. It is among the most toxic pesticides. Workers exposed to it can experience dizziness, headaches, and nausea. Most indoor uses of the pesticides were halted in 2001. Well, it sounds like we should probably stop using it.
Yes. So that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah, a ton of stuff on immigration, versus the Trump administration's restrictions on U.S. entry for passport holders from 7 Muslim majority countries, undoes Trump expansion of immigration enforcement within the United States, and then halts construction of the border wall by terminating the national emergency declaration used to fund it.
Yep. Border wall is no more. Well, I don't know if they're going to deconstruct it, but that's it.
What's up, Shannon?
Yo, no way. Oh my God, I just got nervous. My wife is watching me. Uh-oh. What's up, babe? Welcome to Soldiers of Science.
I know we got to get my wife on here. I don't think she's watched a single episode, to be honest. No, she's watched I think a couple snippets of a few. My wife's into these audiobooks, man. I can't get her off these audiobooks. She's just streaming audiobook master right now. It's her way to decompress in between kid time and
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Well, maybe one day we'll have an audiobook and we'll sneak that in there. She'll listen to our audiobook about the podcast that we built. No. Oh man. That's awesome. So wait, what else do we get? We got, I know that there was
I think census requires non-citizens to be included in the census in a apportionment of congressional representatives.
Yeah. Oh, there was one about path to citizenship.
Yes.
8-year, something about 8-year path to citizenship for 11 million Americans, I think. Like
I did see that. Yeah. Which is good. I mean, if you work here, if you're born here, or even if you're not born here, if you live here, you work here, and you pay taxes.
Yeah.
You're a hardworking human being that is just trying to provide for his or her own family.
Yeah.
You should be granted a path to permanent residency and ultimately citizenship, right?
Yes.
Many people, obviously, who are watching probably don't know this because I haven't talked about this yet, but I was not born in this country and I had to go through the same path. It took me a long time. And then actually September 11th happened and it made things a little bit more complicated. The application price increased from like $100 to like essentially $1,000 when it's all said and done. It's like $400 or $500. There's another $300, and then you got to get your passport, so it's like $100. So the whole thing was about $1,000 when I did it. And it's sad because before 9/11, it was like 1999. My folks were getting their citizenship, and they filled out the application for me. And I was a skater, and I broke my wrist skateboarding, and I had this huge cast on me, right? And so I had to go get the fingerprints done, but I had a cast, but I still went in anyway because I was like, I'm gonna get we'll figure this out. And they couldn't get my thumb because like the cast went all the way up, like just enough to cover my thumb. The lady was super nice. She was like, here, I'm going to sign this paper, your document, and just come back when the cast is off. I was like, cool, no problem. So whatever, 3 months go by, cast comes off. I go back in for fingerprints, and then they're like, nah, this paper is completely invalid. I get a letter in the mail. Sorry, I get a letter in the mail saying your application's been denied. You got to start over. Sorry, good luck. So then September 11th happens, and the fees went up, and I just got discouraged for a long time, because I didn't really have a lot of money in my early 20s, and then finally gathered the money. This is while Obama was president now, and became a U.S. citizen, and I have a letter of my declaration of citizenship signed from President Obama.
That is. We're happy to have you, sir.
Thank you.
Very happy to have you, sir. Yes.
I can honestly say I pay my fair share of taxes. So
yes.
I am a contributing member of society.
Yes. You are part of the
God only knows how much I pay in taxes.
Californians.
Yeah, in California too.
We are pinned down pretty heavily here with the old taxes. So any relief on that front would be nice.
They're only going to go up in California.
Oh, come on.
That's why I'm leaving. Yeah, it's in it. So it's 13.3, and I heard it's going up to 16. 16.8.
What?
I don't know if it's a fact. Do your research, but I heard it's going to go up. It's going to hit the highest earners the most. I think over 400,000 or over $1 million or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But I think the general. I read some. I could be wrong. I read somewhere that it was going to 16.8, which is a lot more money.
That's crazy town.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Again.
Yeah.
Let me dig into it.
Man, that's gonna sting. That's gonna sting. I hope that's wrong, dude. He said nobody that makes less than 400,000 every time. I saw him say
August 2020, California 13.3 tax rate may be raised to 16.8 retroactively if passed. So tax bill AB 1253 from Santiago would impose an even higher tax and retroactively to January 1st, 2020 if passed. So I don't know if this was already like potentially voted on. So we can check out AB 1253. Anybody who's watching this that lives in California, and for everybody else, don't even worry about this. But yeah, it is a bill. I'm in it. Assembly bill. I don't know when it's going to be voted on.
Retroactively, so that means that the employers are on the hook.
This is some of the stuff that some of the rhetoric that I am, having lived in California for a long time, it's ramping up, and this is some of the rhetoric that I don't agree with, like doing things like this. Like, okay, you want to increase taxes, understood. Tell me where the money's going to go. Hopefully it's for all the right reasons. Let's improve education. Let's improve our schools, or pay our teachers more money. Let's get people off of the streets. Let's affordable housing, like all the stuff that we need, right? Infrastructure.
Yep.
But don't tell me you're gonna go back a year. Like that's just.
Well,
that's not cool. So anyway, it hasn't passed. It'll probably be. It's obviously going to be amended. Blah, blah blah. So if it passes, it could cause Californians to hop in their Teslas and head for Texas, Nevada, Washington, or elsewhere. Oh, yeah. That's
already happening. Exodus, mass exodus underway.
Yeah.
You can feel the state getting lighter by the minute. No, but seriously, it's just going to continue to do that as long as the government in California continues to fuck this up. It's going to continue to look like this. And I hate to put it on them, but ultimately that's where the buck stops, right? Create economic opportunity that makes sense for everybody in California, and don't tax people out of wanting to live here.
It's a very difficult balance, right? Because you want to tax the rich higher because they made more money, they have more money, but also the rich people are a lot of the ones that invest in companies, start companies, whatever, angel investors, like here in the Bay Area. They're the ones that fund the development of companies. But a lot of these companies end up being like really big, and they end up really not paying their fair share of taxes either. So it's a very complicated issue, but
It is. And there are pockets of California that are way overpopulated. This should be, people should leave. But, how do you police
it's all
that?
relative. You should check out some cities in China, man. They got some pretty populated
densely populated spots. Yeah. I mean, that's how it always, that's how everything is. Like, those cities will be more densely populated and, crammed, and people trying to be as close as possible to opportunity. It's just the structure that we have in a lot of places. And that is rapidly changing as well. Access to opportunity has gone to the cloud, and everybody's in the cloud now. Except, of course, those that are not, and they are suffering. And that's who I think you were mentioning, and we need to get solutions for, is people that depend on like the free flow of the economy and human beings going where they want in order to make money. So the quicker that we can get to a place where everybody is vaccinated and things are safe, then that will come back. That level of commerce will come back. But it's going to be a while, man. I honestly, just because
100 million doses first 100 million days. 100 days.
Sleepy Joe's got big plans, and I hope to God that he can achieve half of it. But if people aren't taking them, some people are, some people aren't. And how the hell we're going to police it? How, knowing what we know about the coordination between, different levels. Yeah, exactly. How is this going to be reported and tracked? And everyone, like, it's just chaos, dude. It's very chaotic right now. And, you've got droves of people refusing to even consider taking the vaccine.
Yep. Do we want to touch on that? You and I talked offline a little bit about the vaccines, the Pfizer and the Moderna, and how they were developed, and some of the I don't know if you want
Yeah, yeah.
to.
If that's cool, I don't think
I'm
we're
gonna be
not.
super high level and vague, not vague, but like, yeah, we're not experts. We're not in the medical field.
Yeah,
We're just regurgitators of knowledge that we've acquired from verifiable sources. But yeah, my wife brought this up. I was shocked. I had never heard it. She's like, "What do you mean? I've been hearing about this since like day one." I'm like, "No, like no one's been reporting on the fact that we've been researching, or what helped in the development of the COVID-19 vaccine was based upon a lot of the research that we've done on SARS and MERS, um, the Middle Eastern coronavirus, and SARS, the CoV-1, I guess is." Um, I'm probably butchering all this up, but yeah, for a decade we've been studying SARS and MERS, and we've been trying to develop a vaccine. The reason why we never is, as far as I understand it, the reason why we never came close, or we developed a vaccine, or different countries were able to develop a vaccine, was because there just wasn't enough funding. The outbreaks were contained. There weren't enough specimens, or there weren't enough people that had the virus to study them, or to study a potential vaccine. There wasn't enough, yeah, strains, I guess, that they were able to culture to. I don't know. The funding dried up is basically what it comes down to, and because COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2, is a pandemic. We have millions of cases. It's a huge problem. It's affecting the entire world. To shut the whole world down. Using all the knowledge from SARS and MERS, we're able to super accelerate the vaccine for COVID-19, which is also a coronavirus, just like the other two I was talking about. So um, that made me feel more comfortable. Like, okay, it's not like we just started in April,
yeah,
or March. Like
yeah,
we've been trying to figure out a vaccine for a coronavirus for a long time.
yeah.
So
There are exactly. It's just such a poignant fact, man. It's like there are other coronaviruses that have existed way before this version, and there has been science, like you said, 10 years of science. Um, to try and fight those, but it wasn't the whole planet singularly focused on it because
right,
it was a mass outbreak like we got now.
yeah,
And now that it is, that's what's helped to expedite the development of multiple different vaccines, not just one.
yeah.
There's multiple
We're like
in
7
development.
now, or 10,
Yeah,
or 20.
it's
I don't even know now.
yeah, it's growing.
Yeah.
It's crazy that how many.
Russia's got another one. They're like, "Oh, we got a vaccine." I was like, "I thought you had a vaccine like 6 months ago." They
Yeah,
got another one now.
it's crazy town.
Yeah.
And but I think from what you've heard, again, this is part of we're not medical professionals. Please do not take us
Do
on
your own research. Yeah.
but from what we've heard loosely, and this is even if you're provided with a choice. I don't think most people are going to be provided a choice, but if you have a choice, or if you can decide where to go to get a certain type of vaccine, the Moderna one is currently the most highly recommended one. And then um, once the AstraZeneca one is more widely available, that would probably be the most highly recommended one
Yeah.
because of the way that they're being developed,
Yeah,
right?
the AstraZeneca one is based off of the traditional vaccine technology, I guess, if you will, isolating the virus or replicating the virus, and then killing it essentially, or neutralizing it, and then you're injected the dead form of the virus, and then your body's able to detect it, build antibodies against it without the virus being able to replicate inside of your body. So your body learns how to defend against it, but the virus can't replicate, so you don't get sick. That's the most effective or common way to do it. And then, which again, we're not scientists. But I would think that would be like the easiest way. Like, why can't we just like get COVID and like neutralize it, and then just start injecting people with it? It's obviously way more complicated than that. But yeah, the mRNA vaccines of Pfizer and Moderna is essentially a piece of the genetic code of COVID, mRNA. So it's just a section of it. I believe related to the spike proteins, like how it attaches to your body.
Mhm.
And by injecting that into your body's able to go, oh, hey, here's a foreign thing. I'm going to build antibodies against it, and then if you actually get COVID, it will detect that part of COVID, and it'll attack it and then neutralize it.
It'll know that, yeah, like it'll be able to match that structure.
Yep.
And say, I know this spike protein. Okay, so maybe that's the reason, though, that the AstraZeneca one is taking a little longer, because it's a traditional method, and maybe it just takes longer to get through the different phases.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't speak as to why that's more complicated. Like to me, it sounds like it's the easier path,
Yeah.
but obviously it's not. So
Yeah. People, I mean, yeah, again, people thinking outside of the box, right? Because of the global impact of this thing. So maybe there's some new methods that have been employed to try and get things developed faster. But
yep.
I think that has also been the double-edged sword, because that is what has led to skepticism, heavier skepticism, and just the general public who don't know the particulars of the stuff that we're talking about, how they were developed. It's just weird because they're not, and maybe folks aren't looking in the right places, or it's not being published in the right places, but it just doesn't seem like there's a ton of information readily available that could help people get familiarized with all this stuff. So
Yeah.
oh, yes, they've done their research. They've done their, this isn't like just some rough thing.
Scientists have like admitted this, I think, on multiple occasions, on multiple issues like climate change and other things. Like they're not good at like social media marketing campaigns. They're
yeah.
But I think we should have like again, this could be it could be used for good, it could be used for evil, but like you could have like a centralized kind of social media, like a secretary of social media, I don't know, that manages communications better in the country or in the world or different parts of the world. You have different ones, obviously, but that way you could kind of like compete against all the misinformation better. Like, because if you only have a little bit of like the truth, and then all the misinformation like is 90% of the rest is noise.
Exactly.
Then look at where we are now. So
yeah, it's just like a little fish swimming upstream.
Yep.
Trying to get to the truth. And that what you just said reminded me of something else that I saw today that I think is relevant to that. Like what you said, like kind of having like a czar, right, or some sort of secretary, somebody to mediate, to make sure that this information is getting, like, the critical core information that should be disseminated to everybody is getting out there and is being, upvoted or whatever. Like the algorithm is pointing people to that, for the sake of the betterment of society and knowledge and general awareness of the safety and stuff that's going into these things. It made me think of the thing that I saw today. Elon Musk or Tesla is hiring basically kind of like a customer service wing of people that they want to have monitor the Tesla, Twitter, Elon Musk's, just monitor Twitter for mentions of Elon Musk and take the relevant mentions and direct those folks to the appropriate part of Tesla or the appropriate part of his basically businesses. Obviously, there's going to be
that's pretty slick.
A lot of noise, right? It's
Elon
Musk, and so he's getting mentioned millions of times a day.
A second, yeah.
But yeah, they're hiring people to come in and actually go and follow up with all those mentions and find the good stuff and get him routed to the right people, so that because people do give him ideas all the time.
Yeah. Or just feedback on the vehicles or whatever.
Exactly.
Hey, yo, Elon, my door fucking fell off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And then you can direct that directly to the person in charge of, the door interface.
Exactly. Parts repair, door division, however they break it out. Yeah. Tesla door, a front right door division.
Well,
So
that's awesome. If they can aggregate all that
yeah,
and distribute it, I mean, that's
yes,
power of data.
yes, and that would be a beautiful thing to see that kind of same effort with like at mentions of climate change, right?
Yeah.
And people going, "Hey, man, you said climate change was a hoax. Here's the 5 billion different pieces of evidence that prove otherwise," and just helping to get people that information. Um, exactly like the stuff about the vaccine that we're talking about, because all people hear is, "Hey, man, it's," especially back towards the beginning of this in March and April is like, "Hey, just science is science, and there's no way a vaccine is going to be ready to go until at least 2 years from now or a year from now, and blah blah blah." And now all of a sudden, this vaccine is here, and people are like, "How did that happen so quickly? I want answers." Um, but I'm not necessarily going to go digging for answers. And that's just a fact, cold hard fact of human behavior. And people have their minds made up, and then it's very difficult to get them to break out of that and see a alternate perspective.
Back on electric cars just for 1 second. I saw this today.
More than half of new cars sold in Norway in 2020 were electric. No way. Norway breaking the EV. Wow.
So 54% of all cars sold in Norway were electric, and 46% were all others. So they just hit that breaking point.
Dude, first to do it.
Yep. I got this from our good old friend Chamath Palihapitiya.
Yes.
And he wrote, "As goes Norway, so will the world." So anyway, even if you're not really into electric vehicles and you're looking for investment opportunities out there, electric vehicles is a good place to start. Battery technology companies is a good place to start. Tesla's definitely something that's out there that's been somewhat successful in the space. So definitely think that they're going to continue to grow over time. I mean, this year's going to be rough. This year's going to be really interesting. Everything's like overblown stock market wise. Everybody's stock is completely in a bubble, and but it doesn't mean it can't continue to go up. And it also,
It's a weird thing because I read that Biden is inheriting the worst economy since the Great Depression.
Yeah.
And the disparity between the haves and have-nots is chaos.
The highest it's ever been since the Roman times, since before the fall of Rome. This is why, like, and Tony and I talk about this offline all the time. Like, we feel that civil war is not even though today went well. Like, yeah, the disparage that we're seeing between the rich and the poor is the greatest gap of all time.
Yeah. And that is a bubble that will not continue to just go on in infinitum. It will burst.
Yeah, I mean, it's history doesn't repeat, it rhymes, however you want to say it. But when societies, countries get to a point where half the population is like homeless or impoverished and hungry, can't feed, that's when people start to burn things to the ground. So
yes, they do. They do.
Yeah.
I'm holding out hope, man, that at least, and this will be a little teaser for listeners out there. You'll get more information in the future, but for now, I'm just going to say it this way. Maybe there's a chance that some of your good friends, Tones and Flex, are thinking of ways to help redistribute some of the wealth in the world by means of cryptocurrency. And I'll just leave it at that, and we'll speculate on those things for another day. But there's got to be a way to change the general trends of what we're talking about, this income gap, this wealth disparity.
Yeah.
Because the other option is what we all know, and have seen throughout history, and we want to avoid that. It's catastrophic. It's ridiculous to be at this most advanced stage of our consciousness and technology combined with everything else, peak whatever you want to talk about.
This cycle, we still can't figure out how to build the pyramids. So.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. This cycle.
This cycle.
We've peaked at this cycle.
Yeah.
There were ancient societies way more advanced than us. I fully believe that 100%.
It's there's living proof everywhere. Like,
yeah, it's all around us, under us, and it's here. But for now, we have this a current level of achievement, vast achievement, space exploration, rocket technologies, like deep sea discovery, coming at cutting edge technologies and display and communications.
Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter. We got fucking Twitter, TikTok.
I mean, oh yeah, I should have led with that.
Einstein would just be, cartwheeling in the streets.
Yep.
But really, like, we have such simple, mundane, basic shit that we can't figure out. Like, we can't take care of people that have drug problems. We can't take care of veterans that go serve, come back with real physical and mental issues, and then they're just forgotten and brushed aside. We can't even take care of that simple shit. And we have privatized and incentivized, like capitalist pigs, industries like healthcare and prison. There's people having quarterly fucking business reviews about, well, we got 713,000 prisoners this quarter. Look at that. Look what that means we're getting from the government. It's just chaos that you would incentivize and privatize these types of things. So there's these very basic things that whatever, like all this advanced technology that we have, we can't figure this shit out and take care of each other, because that's the right thing to do. It's all about like optimizing.
That's why we got to drain the swamp, Tony. We got to drain the swamp.
We have to do it creatively, legally, efficiently, and compassionately. Because even though there's scum and muck at the bottom of the swamp, like it came from somewhere. Yep. And if you don't figure out where it's coming from, it's just going to keep coming back. So you got to get to the root of things, to the systemic root of things, in order to make real change. And I feel like there's chances to do that, opportunity to do that in a lot of different areas. But, we really have to get our shit together, because there's so many areas where we just have our heads up our ass, and like the writing's on the wall, man. And we know it's coming. We keep talking about it, but no one's making real headwinds into like real change. So how do we do that?
Yeah. No, it was beautiful, man. It all starts with, like, we talk about this all the time. We talked about on other podcasts, like healthcare and education. Like, I don't care what you labeled it as, socialism. That's not what it is, dude. Like, these are basic fundamental things that, like, who in their right mind would argue that you shouldn't have access to healthcare and good education? Like, how is that being China or whatever terrible example, not even relevant example that some people use sometimes? Like, everyone should have, I think if we could start there, get the funding that we need through taxes, through incentives, or whatever it may be, to ensure we just guarantee every American gets access to these two basic things, education and healthcare.
Yeah.
Then we can, I think, start making some progress. We can start taking down the prison systems and rehabilitating people that need rehabilitation instead of incarceration, right? Some people need to be locked up, unfortunately, but I think most people don't, I think
it's a paradigm shift that needs to happen at the legislative level. It needs to be this shift of focus. It's just like within technology too, this shift of focus from like the fucking bottom line profit margins.
Yeah.
We're trying to operate within a certain amount of fucking, year over year, quarter over quarter earnings, and just this focus with like faster, smaller, bigger, money, and shift it and say, how can we take care of everybody? Like, make that the algorithm of the code. Say, this code is only as valuable as its ability to take care of as many fucking other nodes on Earth as possible, equally.
Yeah.
How do we hack that type of system into existence and say, like, if there's one person, if there's one node out there that is not getting taken care of, that's a failure in the code. Bug scrub, figure it the fuck out. How do we get everybody addressed?
Yeah.
There's got to be a way, because we have all the resources to do it. It's just like fucking people waking up and realizing that they're equal and that there's an actual incentive of like doing this and building this type of community. People don't see that when they wake up. It's all this competition and we're different and, you know, we have to be out in the front, the market leaders, and fuck everyone else. It's cutthroat, whatever. Like that mentality is not sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of UBI, universal basic income, but I think if you have a society where we're firing on all cylinders, the vast majority of people have jobs, they've been educated, they're happy doing what they're doing. If some people fall off their feet, then I think UBI is dope. But if it's like introducing it now while everything's like not crumbling, but pretty much like, well, we don't have these other, things in place, like I don't think it'll work well. But I think UBI should exist in a society where everyone's balling out, super stoked about what they're doing, passionate about what they're doing, being compensated appropriately for what they're doing. And then if they get laid off or there's some catastrophic event or somebody in the family dies or like what, if they need help, they should be able to get it to get back on their feet. Right. And then,
it's not this, it's not some fucking utopian, idealistic, far-fetched fantasy world. No. This is very achievable.
We're not trying to destroy capitalism either.
Like, achieve this very pragmatically. This is very achievable. It just takes people that can like put aside profit.
Well,
like just
now we're getting in some deep, like not deep, but profit is the driver. But we should change. Of course, we need to change the way that we think about that and like how profit is used, right? If profit is simply just to amass as much money as possible, then that's a system that's not working well. But if that profit is like fed back into the system more effectively, reinvested into the community more effectively, then I think there's still a place for that, right? But like we're talking reinventing monetary systems and stuff like that.
Exactly. We are, as we would want to do. And the other thing I'm talking about too, we need a way to maybe redefine currency, redefine what profit means for a species that's potentially on the tail end of existence if we can't get our shit together. What does profit mean? Is profit money and currency and whatever fucking market share of the GDP, or is it like biodiversity and fucking carbon zero, net carbon zero, like giving back to the planet? Is that what profit looks like? Could profit actually be like reforestation, re-education, rehumanization of each other? And another layer of that would be even reacquaintance with other bioorganisms on this planet that we share it with. We are not the only fucking organism on the planet. We act like that shit all the time. Like everything else is just for us. That ethos has to go. Has to go, because
you got to convince those 150 people that rule the world.
I know. So that one dude that's listening, you got to go talk to your other 149 homies, because I know it's you that's watching us out there.
Chamath is watching.
It's one of the big dogs.
He's trying to get a seat at the table.
Yeah, one of the Wizards of Oz. I mean that's the thing, dude. Like, we have to do our part, obviously, to help shift that, and having these conversations, inviting people in to discuss with us. That's one way to do it, but it's got to be obviously like a mass shift of consciousness for it to be meaningful. I'm an optimist, probably naive, to see to have hope that that would happen in my lifetime, but I still do. I'm like, maybe, who knows? Maybe.
I mean, even if it doesn't happen in my lifetime, if we're on the path of it happening, then I think we've accomplished something. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, man. I mean, you raised a really good point. Like, what does profit mean when no human can exist on Earth anymore? Right? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so,
Exactly.
um, yeah, that's another problem. I think we either live too long or too short. So humans are just stupid by nature. Like, well, I'll be dead. It'll be my grandkids' problems, right? And like, I think that plays a huge role in the rape of the planet's resources, and not thinking about the future. Like, it's the instant profit and instant money.
Yep.
So yeah, if we were to redefine what profit means, and redefine maybe a different monetary system and all that, again, not to build the utopian socialist, capitalist, or non-capitalist communist country or world, but a world that respects its resources, a world that cherishes and nurtures the biodiversity that we're destroying. We could still ball out, and we could still like go to Coachella but save the planet at the same time. Like, these things are possible. We just have to change some of the materials that we use, and maybe rethink how often we need to buy a new iPhone, and rethink a lot of things. So
Yep. Perfectly said, man. I mean, it is. There's a lot of different things a lot of areas for opportunity to change things. But to make real meaningful change, yeah, these things have to be made at scale in some of the oldest established, industries that exist. The oil industry, bro. Oh my goodness. Like, y'all have brought a lot of value to the planet and commerce, but like, you've also brought a lot of pain and damage. And we have to find a new way to both just continue to innovate and build back. I mean, it's just like, look at it like app development or your favorite video game or whatever. Like, you go through it, there's problems to solve, you solve them, and then you play the next version of the game. It's like they made cooler problems, and it's neat. Like, where we're at right now, this shit's not a game. It's not a game. Like they say, there's no planet B. This is fucking it. And we're it as a human species. We understand what it takes to succeed and to work together and to love each other. We have families, we have people we know and we love. So why can't we extend that to every living thing and say, hey man, we're in this together. Let's stop the bullshit fighting between each other and look forward and say, how do we optimize this thing? How do we make it as dope as it can be, where everybody's equal, everyone gets a slice of the pie, and you can achieve and go fucking reach out and do whatever you want, because all the information's there. You can teach yourself, you can get the help you want, you can get tutors. Like, there's just this mesh of collaboration instead of competition.
Yep. Yep. We gotta get off plastic too, man.
Yeah, dude. Oh, I just saw this like little ad today for this thing called, I think it's like A0. I'm butchering it right now, but it's like this.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like made of plant matter. The bags. They even do like a reusable bag, but they do plastic, but not quote unquote plastic bags that are completely biodegradable. I think they have a shelf life of like 2 years or something, 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's just made out of plants.
Yep.
And they're starting to see some
there's like Tupperware and stuff too, right?
Yeah, and they're starting to see, a lot of usages in cities that are banning plastic bags. Like, I think New York City's got a plastic bag ban that either has gone into effect or will go into effect. But these cities that have banned plastic bags, completely, these types of bags are starting to get used, and it could be a huge shift, win for the planet if these things were to catch on. because they're completely biodegradable and they're like zero impact to the environment.
Yep. Yeah, not the worst, but like one of the things that like I've been like I've seriously contemplated like, okay, I'm never buying plastic things again, right? And it's essentially it's impossible. Like every food container is made out of plastic, right? So how do we change that? But I don't know if I talked to you about it a while ago, but the NPR did a piece. It was September last year, September 2020, about how. Did you know that basically no plastic is being recycled or has been recycled? Like the whole thing's just been a complete
Scam.
scam, complete
Yep.
lie. Yeah.
Yep, I read that. I saw that. Complete scam.
It was actually because plastic's made out of oil and gas.
Yeah, it's just another oil gas
The
scam.
oil and gas companies have been like funding this campaign, talking about, oh yeah, recycling plastics and so, like, no, we've been burying it in the fucking ground. We've been shipping it overseas to China.
Yeah, because it's like impossible to. There's so many different types of plastics. You can't melt all these different plastics together.
Only recycle it 2 to 3 times because it breaks down, it breaks apart too easily.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's more expensive to recycle it than just to make new plastic.
It's such a scam. And it's just profit. People putting profit over everything else.
But it's such a useful thing, man. I mean, like literally everything that you own is made of, like my glasses are made out of plastic. This is made out of plastic. Like this thing I'm holding is made out of plastic. But what a lot of people forget to consider is the hospitals, like all of the bags, syringes, literally everything used in hospitals is made out of plastic. So if you get rid of plastic, you have a huge medical catastrophic situation on your hands. So we need obviously a replacement for it. At scale.
Yeah. And maybe that's the thing. Like you could do something where you do replacements for things at a lower level, like these bags, these grocery bags.
Yep.
Figure out the materials, the textiles that are working, the durability, test them out, and then start to make medical grade versions of things. But just be smart about it and make the medical industry kind of the last industry that you touch.
That you touch
with plastic regulations, right?
Yep.
And say, okay, now we've got medical grade shit that we can swap you over to, whatever.
Yep.
And it's a done deal.
Yep.
There's ways to do it, man. It's a fucking will. There's a way, and it's just about changing this, shifting what that will is, because that will has been so dominantly profit for so long. And again, I get that there is a healthy element to that. It drives ingenuity. It drives people to have business ideas that give people jobs and take care of communities and all that kind of stuff. That's good. That's a good part of having a profit-driven, goal. But at the same time, it can't be the only goal, and it can't be in a vacuum without seeing the ramifications or the consequences of that pursuit of profit. It's just, you have to be more holistic in things. I mean, maybe you don't have to be. Obviously, people don't have to be because they're doing these things and they've been doing these things. But in my mind, the right way to go about it is think of things holistically. Everything has a ripple effect. And just to not be mindful of that seems so careless. When a little bit of more care in planning those things out could literally lead to 1,000 more years of, just prosperity.
Yep.
For everything that lives on this planet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big one because it's scary, man. It's literally in everything. Plastic particles has found its way into like every living organism on Earth.
Yeah, it's literally in the air. Like
it's in the air.
Airborne particulate.
It's in our bodies. It's in every fish or every animal that we eat, every plant that we, it's literally, it's found its way everywhere. So it's kind of a big deal that we figure this one out.
It really is. Oh man, dude, what a show we put together tonight, man. This has felt like we've covered so much. And we're just at an hour. It's just wild. the breadth of things that we've covered in an hour. I feel like we could go on for days. Oh my god.
Yeah, man. Let me
Yeah.
close with one piece of interesting scientific news
Yes.
that I read earlier today. Did you know, Tone, that the first magnetar flare detected from another galaxy was tracked to its home? For the
I
first
did not know that.
For the first time, astronomers have definitely spotted a flaring magnetar in another galaxy. These ultramagnetic stellar corpses were thought to be responsible for some of the highest energy explosions in the nearby universe. But until this burst, no one could prove it. Astronomers reported January 13th at the virtual meeting of the American Astronomical Society in papers in Nature and Nature Astronomy.
What? Oh, is that the three fingers? Is that what they're talking about? Have you ever seen that picture? I think it's one of the more famous photos of these types of uh, explosions that they're talking about. Anyway, go ahead.
I don't know. But so yeah, it goes on to, so we've been seeing them in the Milky Way, but they're so bright in the Milky Way that it's impossible to get a good look at them. So at first, astronomers thought that this was a blast, that the blast was a type of cataclysmic explosion called a short gamma ray burst, or GRB, which are typically caused by colliding neutron stars or other destructive cosmic events. But the signal looked weird for a short GRB. It rose to peak brightness quickly, within 2 milliseconds, tailed off for another 50 milliseconds, and appeared to be over by about 140 milliseconds. As the signal faded, some of the telescopes detected fluctuations in the light that changed faster than a millisecond. I won't read everything, but
It's fascinating. Like,
the researchers believe that the flare was triggered by a massive starquake, 1,000 trillion, or 10 to the 27th, times as large as a 9.5 magnitude earthquake recorded in Chile in 1960. That's
what?
pretty gnarly.
How do you even begin to theorize what that would be like?
Space, man.
I love it.
The finding could have existing implications for fast radio bursts, another mysterious cosmic signal that has led astronomers scratching their heads for over a decade. Several lines of evidence connect fast radio bursts to magnetars, including another signal coming from within the Milky Way that coincidentally also arrived in April 2020. That discovery lent extra credence to fast radio bursts being magnetars, though there are still problems with this theory. So anyway, I thought that was kind of cool.
That's super dope, dude. That's incredible.
I'm all about magnetar bursts.
Fascinating how they can measure like the speed of the light bursts and like what? It's just so cool, man.
Yeah, next 10, 20 years are going to be incredible for space discovery and space exploration. And I mean, who knows? We might even have some humans back on the moon soon and on Mars in 10, 20 years or whatever.
Yeah. I know there's a team shooting for the moon for 2024. I know that may be aggressive, but I think that's
Elon will have it all figured out.
Elon's doing it, dude. When's do you know when Starship 9 is going up? It's soon, I thought, right?
Starship, SpaceX delays push Starship Flight 2 Falcon 9 launches into same 3-day period. Starship 9 launch date. What do we got here? January 21st, 2021.
Tomorrow?
Starship SN9 10-kilometer flight. Launch window, liftoff time subject to change. Net tomorrow.
Sick. Go catch that. Hey, viewer, dedicated, loyal viewer, we love you and thanks for tuning in. This is the key moment of the night. Check out this launch tomorrow, dude. Starship 9. That's going to be cool. 10-kilometer flight. So they're doing, I love it. They're doing all these like just dry run or kind of test flights.
And they're balling out, dude.
Further into orbit. Dude.
What are those rockets called? The ones that like return that can land back?
Oh, those are the Falcon?
Are those the Falcon rockets?
Falcon Heavy or
Yeah,
Falcon?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them like just landed again recently, and it was like the 8th time that it
They
was
use that same rocket.
same rocket, 8th time.
So sick. Yeah, like, dude, 3-4 years ago, people would tell you they were crazy to even believe that that could be possible.
I
And
thought they
now
were
it's
insane, but
yeah, now they're talking about they're buying talk about reuse, reduce, reuse, and I forget what the other R is.
replace
Replace, saving the environment. But yeah, they're gonna fucking buy up a bunch of these old abandoned oil rigs in the middle of the ocean
Yeah,
and
yeah, to
convert
make a
them
pad.
convert them to like landing ports.
Yep.
So sick, man. Like, see, this
Yeah.
is
Elon,
engineering.
I don't wanna always say Elon, there's, like, so many other people, obviously, that are working on this stuff, and he's just
Yeah,
kinda, the face of it all, but, yeah, the stuff that SpaceX are doing and Tesla and,
yeah. And that's the thing, dude. Like people like Elon, he's just a brilliant person at motivating and leading other brilliant people, and people get behind him. But they're also brilliant.
yeah,
It's just he has a gift of being able to identify that brilliance and put it in charge of his big ideas. But there's teams of geniuses that work on this stuff, and it's so cool to see where they're making significant, game-changing impact.
yeah.
We're big believers. I think anybody that's seen any other episodes, we're big believers in Tesla, SpaceX. This stuff is so like Solar City, Starlink coming at you. We can't wait for that. That's really cool. I think a lot of people are excited about that. But there's just so much, man. It'll be
That's
exciting.
part of my retirement plan, Starlink, man, like, when I retire, I wanna be able to cash everything out, kids are in college, hope, they got their jobs and families, and just buy a house somewhere in the middle of nowhere on a
Oh,
lake,
dude. Yep.
maybe in Canada,
Yeah.
and just have my Starlink high
Just
speed
Starlink
gigabit,
by a floating house, like literally sits on the lake and floats all day. And you got a Starlink 10 gig connection.
10 gig. It's probably not safe, but
No.
who knows? I
But
won't go down that rabbit hole, but
yeah. The radiation. Oh boy.
all right. You wanna wrap this up?
Yeah, dude, that's gonna do it. January 20th, Inauguration Day. Again, congratulations and happy day to those of you celebrating, and happy Wednesday night to those of you who don't care. It's been quite a ride. Awesome to get back on tonight with you, Flex, and reconnect with the people. Thank you to the viewers that tuned in. I see there's been one or two of you floating in and out. Really appreciate the love. If you haven't already, definitely like the channel, comment, subscribe, spread the news. We do this every 2 weeks, and we just talk about real life because that's what we, trying to navigate through. And we look at things through a lens of science and fact. And we're hoping that the market for that is opening back up in ways that it hasn't been in the last couple of years. So
Yep.
with that, much love, stay safe, wear the mask, especially if you're on federal property. Sleepy Joe gonna come get you. But for real, man, mask up, be safe. Much love. And we'll catch you next time, man.
Love it. Thank you. Catch y'all on the flip.
Woo.